He's obviously a very talented young man. I think age is irrelevant.
With whom I could compare, it's Ayrton Senna.
Aged just 16, it was announced Max Verstappen would become a record breaker. He'll become the youngest ever Formula One driver.
Welcome at Toro Rosso.
This is the story of Max's record-breaking journey. This never-before-seen footage shows exactly what it takes to reach the top of motorsport as he joins the next generation of Formula One drivers. On August 19th, on Austrian television, the world was stunned as Max Verstappen was announced as a Toro Rosso driver for 2015, when he will become the youngest competitor in the sport's history by almost 2 years.
You always dream to get into F1, and then at 17 you sign a contract. Or 16 I was back then. So yeah, and then when I came home, you know, I looked at my dad and we were both like, we are in F1 next year. That was our dream together, and we made it. I never expected it that it happened that fast. Well, I knew what the reaction would be, you know, too young and not good for F1, but yeah, they just read the news really. They don't really look into the results and how much work there is before you get even there. They just think I'm a 17-year-old guy jumps in an F1 car. But we already had so much work before, you know, to get even a chance to jump in an F1 car. And that's what many people forget. And also the second Verstappen name now. So yeah, I think that will be really cool.
Max is the son of former Formula One driver Jos Verstappen, the most successful Dutch driver of all time, who drove in over 100 Grand Prix.
In '94, started in Formula One with Benetton. Till 2003, the last team was Minardi, but it's now Toro Rosso, so it's a good combination. I must say, when he was young, he was always interested in engines, motorcycles, cars, go-kart, Formula One. He knew everything when he was small.
A few times I went, you know, together with him to the races, and yeah, the paddock was a bit like a playground for me, so I was just running around and having fun. And yeah, especially when you come back like 10 years later after that, you're like, whoa. And then you think about it, like 7 years ago, I was just playing around here for fun. So yeah, it was quite funny.
He was 2.5, he was driving a quad and the electric Jeeps he had, and he was always, you know, going as close to the walls and things, you know, not to hit. But he had a feeling how to drive, and you could see immediately in a go-kart, you could see that he had a lot of talent.
He was not pushing me, he was just, you know, if he wants to drive, I will buy him a go-kart at the end of the day. So it really had to come from myself, because I think at the end, if your dad starts to push you, maybe 5-6 years it will be all right, but at the end, you won't enjoy it anymore. So yeah, luckily it wasn't like that, and it came, you know, completely from myself.
I made many mistakes, I made stupid mistakes. But I think as soon Max got racing, I learned from my mistake. And I tried to get that through to Max, that he didn't make the same mistakes as I did.
When something happens to you, you can get like angry or, you know, aggressive. And I think that's also where my dad really teach me in how to approach the race better than he did. He knew what went wrong in his career, and we tried to do it better now. So he was trying to make a Verstappen 2.0, really.
While he has a famous surname, it was Max's results that made people sit up and take notice.
Excitement and you know, enthusiasm there was around Max, and how competitive he was immediately in Formula 3 was quite sensational.
There was a race at Norrisring, which is a tidy circuit in Nuremberg, and in the wet he was around 1.5 to 2 seconds per lap quicker than anybody else in the field. And there was clear there is really something very, very special.
Such were his results at junior level, Max found himself being approached by several top teams in just his first year away from go-karts.
When he started winning, of course, the others were interested, and I think every Formula One team from the top 5 were interested in him. Then it was clear we want him, and we want him in Formula One as soon as possible.
Well, we got some phone calls, so yeah, I mean, then I got the chance, you know, at the end from Red Bull, and we were already talking since 2010, I think. We got a really good feeling about it, and at the end, yeah, I think it was mainly the feeling what made the decision.
The verdict was clear. Max had the potential to be a once-in-a-generation talent, and age was no factor.
In Max, we've got a really talented youngster. I think age is irrelevant, you know, whether you're Bernie Ecclestone or you know, when I was 30 coming into this job, it's not how old you are, it's how you conduct yourself and what you do. So I think age is just a number.
The age doesn't make any difference. I mean, every person is different. I think it's also the way Max is growing up. He's growing up with racing cars.
You can't say that a driver has to reach a special age to do Formula One. He has reached such a high level from the driving side that I have no doubt that he will do a good job in Formula One. There's absolutely no doubt.
I would definitely say it's a Grand Prix winner, and the rest we will see.
I'm 100% sure that Max can reach the top of the Formula One.
Max's first duty as a driver in waiting for Toro Rosso is a show car run in Rotterdam. It would be his first ever time in a Formula One car, with thousands watching.
I think in 1 hour or so, I will do a run on the bridge with a F1 car, so looking forward to it. My dream was always, you know, to get to F1, and then I think when you get the first time in an F1 car, just where you always worked for. It'll be the first time here in Holland, so yeah, really excited.
But his first time in the car doesn't go to plan.
Yeah, I was just pushing forward, really, and I was trying to stop the car, but then, you know, the anti-stall kicks in, so it pushes you forward again. You know, it was too late to take the clutch. I was trying to take it, but I just couldn't get it on time. And I know I hit the barrier with 5 kilometers, I think. But at the end, it was a mistake, but, you know, I think many drivers made that mistake.
It was stupid, but things like that will happen. He's learning from it, and for sure they won't happen again. But it's all about the experience.
He doesn't have long to dwell on it, though, as he heads to meet his new team and his new boss for the first time.
Max. Welcome at Toro Rosso.
Max is shown around the factory by team principal Franz Tost.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Many guys came to me and they said they worked even with my dad.
So your father was a fantastic driver.
They still remember you as a small kid walking around, and then now they are working with you. So yeah, it was a special feeling, and you know, when you see so many people working for 2 cars, it's really impressive.
It's always something special if a Formula One driver comes to the factory, talks to the people, let the people feel that they are part of it for their motivation.
Thank you. Tost has overseen the careers of many young drivers.
I'm really convinced that he is matured enough to jump into Formula One next year and be successful.
The team are already planning the car he will use next year.
The brake pedal needs to be more straight.
Today they will make a mould of his body to create his racing seat. It'll ensure he's comfortable and safe in next year's car.
As you can see, we are making the seat at the moment, so yeah, there's still a lot of work to do.
The seat fitting has to be done now, as in only a week, Max will take to the track in a Formula One car for the very first time.
Today we are in Adria, Italy. Will be my first proper F1 test to do the 300-kilometer run for the superlicense. So yeah, exciting. It's getting more real and real all the time. You know, I step into the garage.
Today he will complete several hundred laps in an old Toro Rosso.
Go down, right like 2-3 seconds.
A necessary step in order to obtain his super license that allows him to compete in Formula One. And one of the drivers Max will be racing against in 2015 has sent him a message ahead of the test.
Hey Max, heard you're going for your super license today. All the best, and yeah, we'll see you on the grid in, I don't know, 6 months' time or something.
He's a really nice guy. Yeah, thank you.
This is the first time Max will drive a Formula One car on the limit.
Truck is clear, let's go.
Today he gets the chance to practice everything from starts to pit stops.
Box and stop on the mark. Okay, get ready to push one more lap. See that you are getting more used to the car and to deal with the tires, and you are very consistent, making progress step by step. So that was good. For me, the run felt quite good. Just the last 2 laps, the tires were finished. That's it for today. You have done a very solid and very good job.
400 kilometers, not a single mistake. The engineers were really pleased and impressed.
Yesterday when I came in here, we walk into the garage, we see the car standing there with Verstappen, and it makes me proud, I must say. And then you see him the first time going out on a track. Yeah, it's something special to see him. And I must say, he's doing incredibly well. He's adapting quick, and yeah, looks good, really good.
It's so quick. You can't imagine, like, the first few laps, your eyes, they can't keep up. And you just feel your stomach, like, in a roller coaster. It's the same feeling, but then even more aggressive.
Max has also made an important decision, his racing number. It will stay with him throughout his Formula One career, even if it's his second choice.
Well, my number, yeah, normally it should be 3. My favorite number is 3, but that's Daniel is using already, but I mean, maybe 33 means double luck.
A good day for Max, and he's soon cleared by the FIA to drive in free practice for the remainder of the 2014 season. But he also has unfinished business in the junior ranks. He's at Imola racing in the European Formula 3 Championship. It was Max's results in this category that brought him to the attention of the Formula One world. There are only 2 races left, and Max wants to end on a high. He still has an outside chance of winning the championship.
At the moment we are in Imola for the F3 race, the European Championship. So it's always nice to win it, of course, but it's always nice to have something already for next year. So I just try to do my best, and more than that I can't do.
Maybe they race a little bit different against Max, but it doesn't matter. Max has to get more and more experience. That's why also we finish off the season in F3.
It's his first race in Formula 3 since his promotion was announced. But race 1 doesn't go to plan.
So I started 15. I had a good first lap, I think I was already 9. And then I was, you know, charging through the field with some good overtakes, and then I tried around the outside in the first chicane, but then I just ran out of space and touched like the high curb, so the car bottom, I couldn't steer anymore, so I went off. Yeah, it was my mistake. I was too greedy, I think. I still had some more laps to do it. So I dropped down to P7 or P8. The rear suspension was bent, so my speed wasn't great, but I was still like on the same speed as the other guys. But then like a few laps after, I got bumped off the track. They really wanted to beat an F1 driver, so yeah, you could feel it. And then I was trying to overtake another guy, and we touched. So that was quite an action-packed race, let's say like that.
But in race 2, he showed the talent that took him to Formula One.
I just had, I think, a great race. I really enjoyed it, and lap by lap I was charging through the field. At the end, taking second position on the line is, yeah, was just really, really amazing, to be honest.
And in race 3, he took the win, although his chances of winning the title had gone.
It was a really good weekend. And also for the commentators and everybody around there, I think they were enjoying the races.
Coming up, Max gets closer to Formula One as he visits Red Bull Racing and begins his final preparations to join the next generation of Formula One drivers. Max only has one Formula 3 race left, and he's hoping to end the season with a positive result. This time, the races are at Hockenheim, sharing the track with DTM. And with a bigger event comes a bigger crowd and more attention from fans and press. This team, Van Amersfoort Racing, have already helped one Verstappen into Formula One. Jos was also part of the team.
We always kept in contact with Jos since he drove for us in 1992. So the first time Max drove one of our cars, and you know, like all Verstappens, your mouth falls open and it didn't close anymore. They keep amazing you every day.
While Max's father is often by his side, today he's joined by his mother as well.
I think he was 3-4 years old, and I remember my ex-husband was racing, and he told me, "Mom, I want to have a go-kart." So I called Jos. I said, "Now it's time." 6 years old when he did some races, you can see it. It's just a feeling that he has. He's 17, but he's my boy. At this point, I cannot believe it. I can't believe it. You know, I think I will realize it the moment when he is in Australia, when he is there and he goes out of the pit, and I will realize it.
Max is on pole for the first race.
Just controlled it from the start and pulled away.
A perfect lights to flag victory, his 10th win of the season. The other two races are more low-key in the midfield, but one move does stand out on championship winner Esteban Ocon.
Yeah, I mean, we were really close to each other. We were not giving each other much room, and, you know, he doesn't want to get passed by me because we were always rivals throughout the whole year. So I think for everybody watching was just great.
Which means at the end of the season, in his rookie year, Max finishes third in the Formula 3 Drivers' Championship. As the Formula 3 season ends, Max is upping his preparations for 2015. Today he's in Milton Keynes, the headquarters of Red Bull Racing.
In a few years, there's one of mine in there.
He'll be getting some hours on their state-of-the-art race simulator. As testing is limited in Formula One, the simulator is a vital part in driver development.
It's a great tool for us to educate and develop the drivers. I mean, to look at a driver's technique, work with him on his technique. It's a very good tool for us to be able to look at the development of any young driver.
Okay, Max, you're good to go.
It's also important for Red Bull Racing to keep an eye on young talent. Since 2009, all their drivers have come from Toro Rosso.
Those two, it's really hard to get like the whole rotation on the steering wheel. Yeah, this one as well.
Hi.
Hi.
So you got everything you need, and I understand the simulator's going okay?
Yeah, I think everything went perfect.
Yeah. He's behaving?
Yeah, so far.
Yeah, so far, yeah.
Yeah, good. So good. Well, the purpose of Toro Rosso is to develop young drivers, you know, as a pool of talent for Red Bull Racing. That's worked exceptionally well with Sebastian Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, now Danny Kvyat. And time will tell with Max, but it's really down to him now. You know, Toro Rosso have done a super job in developing young drivers, and, you know, we'll see how he goes.
While Max's car is busy being prepared in Italy, he must use the winter to prepare his body for the demands of Formula One.
First we test them, that we have a lot of information, and with all these data we find out the deficits, and then you have to decide which part is the first priority where you have to start with.
He's in Austria visiting the Thalgau training centre, where specialists will keep an eye on his progress.
Well, the last few weeks have been really busy, but I mean, it's a part of it, so you just deal with it. It's 1.5, 2 hours, so it's really important that you're fit enough to do a race. I think like the endurance training is really important. I think they are preparing me well. It's hard, but it should be like that.
supports all the abilities for a long time, that you have a high concentration level, that all the function in the brain works, because if you get tired, all the functions are decreasing.
You just need to be physically strong enough, you know, that you don't have any problems while you're racing, because we are doing so many switches on the steering wheel. You're trying to improve the little bits of the car when you have a little oversteer or understeer. You know, you try to improve that by yourself as well, so it's much more what you have to think about.
But before Max's life becomes too busy, he will spend some time with his family.
We are in Genk in Belgium, where it all started for me, to do some go-karting. I was really busy the last few months, and then now I got the chance again, so back to my roots.
On this place is where he started, actually on this small track here on the left-hand side. He was 4.5. We asked the owner if he could have a private track because he was so small, and this is where he started.
I'm the owner of this circuit here. I met all the guys who are now in Formula 1, from Alonso, Button. Button was 3 years with me. A lot of drivers. Jos was driving with me, and he was also working with me on the engines. He was 14 or 15 years old, and he was extremely good. This is the place where Max is the first time went on a go-kart. In the beginning, I think he was 2-3 times a week testing and learned him to drive. But you can see that Max had feelings. He knows how it works now. He won nearly all the races, even in the little bit higher class and then higher class. He was unbeatable. There are footballers who are playing in Champions League when they are 16 years old. If you are good, you're good.
After months of training and preparation, the day has come for Max to drive the 2015 Toro Rosso car for the first time.
Well, we are in Misano right now. Of course, you know, it's exciting, and you've been waiting for it now a few months, so you've seen the progress of what they were doing in the factory, so you want to jump in the car right now and do some laps.
On our side, it's a new car, it's 2 new drivers, it's a new installation, it's pretty much everything on the car, to be honest.
The car and the whole team are in Misano, including Max's new teammate Carlos Sainz, also a rookie with a famous surname. His father was a world rally champion.
We will work together hard in this pre-season testing to push the car forward and to do a good job. So I'm pretty confident we will get on very well and we can do a good season together.
Max will have to watch as Carlos gets the first ever ride of the STR10. As pre-season testing approaches, Max's media duties also step up. Finally, after a morning of filming, it's his chance to try the car.
Good. I mean, it's always the first test, you know, to check all stuff, and so far, you know, everything was working, so yeah, it felt really good. Hopefully in a few years, I'm still in F1 and I can look back at this documentary, you know, with a big smile. I still have some years in front of me to try and be the youngest F1 Grand Prix winner, so I will try to go for that. Well, maybe one day, Red Bull gives me the chance if I do a good job. We'll see. I mean, the important thing now is do a good job with Toro Rosso.
Now, it's all down to Max.